So, good morning. My name is Y.V. Ramarao, Department of Computer Applications, Assistant Professor. First year BA Computer Applications, Semester 1, Paper 1, FIT, Fundamentals of Information Technology, or IT, Information Technology, Unit 1. So we discuss about, today we discuss about the basics, all the basics, what is a computer, what are the different types of computers, what are the advantages, applications, features, characteristics of a computer, like that. So what is a computer and the types of computers, the user interface, like that. So a computer is an electrical and mechanical device. Electrical, electronic and mechanical device to perform some operations or to perform some calculations or to perform some tasks in day-to-day life, like doing some calculations. Examples are payroll calculations, payroll systems, or some accounting purpose, like that. So computers are generally used everywhere in all the departments, like science, research and development, education, marketing, sales, by various people and by various organizations and by various areas also. So the first computer is invented by von Neumann. Generally, a computer is a device that accepts input, processes data, store data, and produces output. So a computer is an electronic device. It is also a device like a calculator. It simply accepts input or accepts some values from the users and process them. What is processing? Processing means doing some calculations and stores them either permanently or in temporary, and produces the outputs or results required by the users. So this is the block diagram of a computer. Means how a computer works, or how this is the structure of a computer. This is a structure of a computer, or a block diagram of a computer, or architecture of a computer. So in this diagram we seen that first there are four components. First one is input devices or input unit. Second one is central processing unit or CPU. And output devices or output units, and data storage or memory. So by using input devices, the user try to communicate with the computer by giving some instructions, commands, statements, and these are generally decoded into a machine readable form and goes to central processing unit, CPU. And again, generally CPU means it is a processor. CPU contains central processing, but central processing unit contains many other units like arithmetic and logic unit, storage unit, and control unit, and other units also. And in the CPU, generally CPU is communicated with data storage or memory to retrieve data and information stored in it and process the data or instructions or commands, and generates the output required by the users. And these outputs are generally sent to output devices or output unit, and they are human readable. They are human in the form of human readable forms. So basic input devices are like a keyboard, monitor, and output device, basic output device. What are the basic input devices? Keyboard and mouse. And what are basic output devices? Standard basic regularly used output device is a monitor. So this is the block diagram of a computer, simple block diagram of a computer, or a simple architecture of a computer, or a working of a computer, how a computer works. So what is input? What is input means generally input is supplied by input devices. So what is input? Input means it is in the form of some instructions, commands, and some numbers, characters, like that. So generally inputs are generally feed by using some input devices. So input means send information or data into a computer, like words from a document, numbers for a calculation, pictures, sound, videos, like that. So what is output? What is processing? Generally CPU or central processing unit is done various processings. What is a processing? Processing is the way that a computer manipulates data. Means manipulation means doing some calculations or doing some comparisons. Doing some calculations means doing some additions, subtractions, multiplications, divisions, finding some coefficients, reminders, like that, and performing some all these are calculations. Performing calculations, simply called as performing calculations. And other things like sorting, finding something, drawing some graphics, all these are processings. They are called as processing, doing something, some work by using CPU or central processing unit. So what is storage? Storage is also called as memory unit. Storage is also called as, another name is memory unit. Generally all the instructions, programs, and other commands given by the users are generally stored in the storage or memory. There are many types of storages, like primary storage, secondary storage, main memory, secondary memory, auxiliary memories, cache memory, RAM, ROM, PROM, EEPROM. All these things we'll discuss in the later classes. So what is a storage? A computer stores data so that it will always be available for person. So before going to process any data by using some processing unit or processors, first the data or information or the program should be stored in the memory or storage or internal memory or in main memory. So then only the processor will take the appropriate instructions or codes from the storage unit and process them. Storage is the area where data can be left on a permanent basis. So again, storage and memories are different types, like permanent memory, temporary memory, all these things. So memory is an area of a computer that holds data and information that is waiting to be processed. Generally, all the data and information, instructions, information or command statements are generally stored at memory, or they are also called as random access memory or main memory or primary memory. Generally they are going to be processed one by one. So output, what is output? Output means result. Output is nothing but another name is result generated by the computer. Results generated by the computer. So output units are used to generate, or output units are used to provide some output to the users. Means output means results of some calculations or results of some programs, like that. So computer output is the results produced by the computer, like reports, documents, music, graphics, pictures. Means like various reports or SMS messages, sending messages or sending some mails. All these are outputs. And an output device displays, prints, transmits the processing results. Means generally output units are used to produce output, like display the results on the monitor. Monitor is the standard output device, or printer used to print something on a paper. This is called as a hard copy, like that. So this is output device or output units. So this is the another diagram of working of a computer. This is another picture or a diagram of a working of a computer. So this is the another diagram or picture of a block diagram or a structure or working of a computer. So here we use a color display, some color plotter, printers, image scanners, digitalizers, CPU, tape drives, disks. So various components are hardware components or various components are connected to a computer. So all these are input output devices. All these are input output devices. Input output device is also a set type question which is coming from compulsory coming from first unit that we discuss later. So next is peripherals. What is peripherals or hardware? So basically computers have two components. First one is hardware or peripherals and second one is software. Hardware means generally it is an electronic, electrical, mechanical chips, devices. So hardware refers to the physical things that go together to make a component. Computer means generally hardware means the physical devices connected to a computer. The physical devices connected to a computer. Peripheral devices are hardware components that handle the computer's input, output, and storage capacity. So generally hardware components or hardware devices are used to use input, output devices, output devices, and storage devices like that. So another term is software. So the computer may have two components, hardware and software. The computer needs software to tell it how to interact with the user and how to process the user's data. So what is a software? A software is nothing but a collection of programs or a collection of some applications or tools used to do some work or used to do some operation on a computer. Without a software, a computer is a mechanical, hardware and electrical device only. So generally we require some software to operate it. Examples are operating systems. They are called as application softwares. So what are the different types of softwares? How many types of softwares are different types of softwares? And we will discuss in next chapter. So there are many types of computers. Generally there are many types of computers. Computers can be classified or based on their usage, based on their size, based on their type, based on their applications like that. So computers can be separated into four groups from least to most powerful. First one is microcomputers, mini computers, mainframes and supercomputers. So micro means very small, mini means medium, mainframe means large, supercomputer means it is very large. So microcomputers. Generally, what is a microcomputers? Microcomputers are also known as PCs or personal computers. Micro means small, means generally the computers which are used in offices and home-based computers are all called as microcomputers. Typically found in homes and small businesses. So this is a US cost that we didn't require. Speed can exceed 1500 million operations per second. Generally, the speed of a computer is measured in megahertz. Megahertz are million instructions executed per second. Megahertz means millions instructions executed per second. What are instructions? Like arithmetic instructions like addition, subtraction, division, multiplications, comparisons like less than, greater than, less than, equals to, not equals to, like that. So generally the speed of a computer is measured in megahertz or million instructions per second. So 1.5 megahertz. So today's we may use different computers with 4, 3, 4, 4.5 megahertz like that. Generally these are standalone computers. What is standalone? Standalone means desktop computer or a standalone computer, which means it operates generally it's by its own, means generally only one user can operate it, means generally multiple operators or multi operators or multi users are doesn't support. So or may be connected to other computers in order to share data and software. So it is also called as a standalone or a desktop computer. So these are the different types of microcomputers. Again, microcomputers have different types like laptops, desktops, PDAs. What is PDA? Personal digital assistants. So laptop is also one type of microcomputer. So a laptop computer is light and runs on battery or electricity. Desktop is a microcomputer, and PDA or a personal digital assistant accepts information on touch screen by using some touch screens. So desktop microcomputers again are two major types: PCs and Macs. PCs means personal computer, originally created by IBM, and Macs means another company. So next is mainframes. What is the mainframe? Mainframes are large, fast, and fairly expensive computers, and used by business and government. Storage, processing, and management of large amount of data. Can support thousands of users. Often uses several central processing units. So generally mainframes also have many users, operated by many users, and by using mainframes are formed with by using many CPUs or processing units, having large amount of storage units or memory units. Processing speeds are very high, and managing large amount of or processing large amount of data. Generally these are used with special purposes by using some governments or forecasting, research and development areas. They are very fast, very costly, very expensive, and occupies very large space. High speed computers. So another type of computers are supercomputers. These are also very fastest and most expensive type of computers, and now used in business markets to handle large amount of data. Generally they are used at business levels at like e-commerce portals like Amazon, like that. Processes more than 1 trillion instructions per second, means generally these are having capacity to handle 1 trillion instructions, means instruction is nothing but operations or commands per second. So where these are used means generally applications covers like forecasting. Weather forecasting means to predict cyclones, forecasting future days forecasting, and military simultaneous, and animations, research and development, like that. So next is the user interface. So what is user interface? Means user interface means generally in the olden days we used text-based computers or text-based operating systems, but in nowadays we are using GA-based operating systems like Windows, Linux. Means they are all built in with some Windows or using some graphical user interface commands. This means by which humans and computers easily communicate. A good user interface is easy to learn and use. User interfaces are still improved. So GUIs means graphical user interface, means like Windows operating system. They are generally used with objects, concepts called as object. Everything is treated as an object or a key element of the graphical user interface, or GUIs, found on the most of today's microcomputers like Microsoft Windows, Mac, and others. So what is a computer command or an instruction? Generally a command is an instruction given by the user by using some input devices. It is called as input to a computer to tell something or to instruct something to do something, or to assign something or to do some task. Commands are generally English words to instruct something to a computer. So we start with another PPT. So this is another PPT taken from various materials. So what are the main 5 components of a computer? So what are the 5 important components of a computer or an information system? Is generally people means users, procedures, software, hardware and data. So generally software is as we already discussed, software is of 2 types. One is system software and application software. What is system software? System software is nothing but it is a operating system like Windows, DOS, Unix, Linux. System software is also called as an operating system. Or second one is application software. Application software means a number of applications developed by the vendors or by the companies for various purposes, like Tally. Tally is one of the application software. Means it is mainly used to design and develop for some kind of applications or some kind of uses only. So system software is called as an operating system like Windows, DOS, Unix, Linux. Application softwares are like these are also one type of softwares used for specific purpose and specific use only, like MS Office, MS Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Tally and something. So system software. What is system software? A collection of programs, tools, utilities, and enables the application software to interact with the hardware, and background software that helps the computer manage its own resources. Generally, system softwares are also called as operating systems or OS. They are collection of generally they are a collection of some programs, tools, utilities, small applications. And these system softwares are generally used to interact with the hardware. They can directly interact or they can operate the hardware connected to a computer. Means like printers, means they can control, they can operate, they can run like Windows, keyboards, printers, DVDs, like that. Background software that helps the computer manage its own resources, and generally these system software are also used to manage all the things, manage all the hardwares, managing all the software components, users, printers, troubleshooting techniques, and installing and uninstalling new programs and applications, adding new hardware to a computer. All these things can be, means they are generally used to manage all the things which are generally connected to a computer. Application software. What is application software? And these are the end user softwares or programs generally developed by the users by using computers to do some tasks. Examples are some Tally, MS Word, like that. So again there are 2 major categories: general purpose softwares and special purpose softwares. So what is hardware? What is hardware? Another term we regularly used is hardware. What is hardware? Hardware is nothing but the physical devices connected to a computer. The physical devices are the physical components of a computer which are generally connected to a computer. Means like equipment that process the data and controlled by the software. Generally, these hardwares are controlled and manipulated by the softwares installed. And these hardware components are generally used to process the data, and there are many physical devices or hardware components generally connected to a computer, like keyboards, mouses, monitors, other devices, printers, speakers, mouse, CD and DVDs, CPUs, monitors, like that. And there are many other devices are also there. All these are called as hardwares. So what are basically, as we already discussed, what are the basic types of computers? Computers are basically four types, like microcomputers, mini and mainframes, and supercomputers. So supercomputers are generally very high capacity, high speed computers used by very large organizations to process large amount of data and to process large amount of calculations, doing calculations. Like examples are tracking spaces, means used with Hubble telescope, weather forecasting, spacing, research and development, military operations, all this. So mainframes, another type of computers is a mainframe, generally occupies specifically wide air-conditioned rooms capable of great processing speeds and data storage, not as powerful as supercomputers. These are also very large computers for doing very large complex operations, and occupies very large space. Generally these are kept in air-conditioned rooms and high speed processing speeds, and they are having generally high data capacities or memories. So another is mini computers. Mini means above the micro, known as mid-range computer, also known as mid-range computers, used by medium-sized companies, used by departments. And another computers are microcomputers. These are the least powerful, wide. Again, four types of microcomputers are there: desktop, notebook or laptop, tablet, PC, and handheld computers. So all these are microcomputers. Microcomputers are generally used with homemade computers, are generally used at homes and offices, organizations. And examples are tablet PCs, notebooks, desktops, like that. So desktop computers. What are desktop computers? Generally these are small enough to fit on top of an desktop. You are too big to carry out. So generally these are the desktop computers are used for day-to-day purpose in offices and home-based computers. And another type of microcomputer is notebook or laptop computers. These are portable. Portable means compact. Portable means compact, lightweight, and small in size and fit into the most briefcases. Another type of microcomputer is tablet PC. It is also one type of notebook. Generally accepts handwritten commands or handwritten instructions, like tabs or tablets. Handheld devices. These are also some type of microcomputers. So what are the different hardware components inside a PC or a CPU of a microcomputer? Generally, when you open the case of a system or a computer CPU, there are many other hardware, mechanical, electrical devices are seen. So these are called as they are called as hardware components like memories, processors, motherboard, system unit, input output devices, secondary devices, like that. So what is the data? Data and information. Generally data is nothing but some information, some form of information. Generally data is in raw unprocessed facts. Processing creates some information. By using raw data, we process the data and generate some form of information. So generally the data or information is stored in the form of files or computer files, like document files, means MS Word files, worksheets, database files, presentations, like that. Presentation files, database files, worksheet files, documents, like that. So documents means documents are generally created with MS Word or any word processing documents. Worksheet means generally they are created with some MS Excel or worksheet softwares. Databases means large amount of data to be stored at databases by using any DBMS or RDBMS softwares. Presentation files means like by using PowerPoint we may create some presentations by using some graphics, pictures, like that. So we may continue in the next class. Thank you.